Raiders. Mike, Joe, and Mark on the call. Michael.
Chris, it is virtually a must-win game for two teams with waning hopes for the playoffs. The Minnesota Vikings and the Oakland Raiders on Sunday Night NFL. The Minnesota Vikings have squandered a 4-0 start and are now fighting for their playoff lives. At 5-5, they can't deal with the damage of another direct hit. These are desperate times for the Silver and Black, who find themselves on the verge of playoff extinction. At a disappointing 4-6, Oakland is now in a must-win mode. Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Patrick, along with Joe Theismann and Mark Malone. Welcome to Oakland for the NFL on ESPN. Dennis Green comes into tonight's game looking to end a 4-game losing streak and rediscover his offense. Brad Johnson gets the start at quarterback in place of the injured Warren Moon. But more than anything else, the Vikings need to run the football. In their last 3 games, they have amassed a total of just 74 yards rushing. And, Joe, they'll need to do a whole lot better than that tonight to have any chance of winning.
And here's why, Michael. The Raiders are committed to running the football behind a huge offensive line that carries a 36-pound weight advantage per man. I mean, it's real simple. John Randall and the defensive unit are missing 3 starters, and they'll wear down if the offense can't control the ball. The Vikings know it. The Raiders know it. And believe me, Mike, this is a game that Mike White knows is going to be won in the trenches.
All right, Joe, and it's a good weather night for that. It's been raining here in the Bay Area, and the forecast is for more of the same. And just a reminder, Mark Malone is with us throughout the night with looks at key matchups in his Spotlight segment. There's Berger, number 2 in the NFL in touchbacks. Napoleon Kaufman back with Carl Kidd. Kaufman averaging 21-1 a return. And we are set to go from the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. Berger drives it 8 yards deep in the end zone, and the Raiders will take a knee. For the Raiders offense, Jeff Hostetler already has 16 touchdown passes, his career best of 20 in a season, well within reach. Tim Brown is on target to be the team's club record 95 catches in a year. He has 61, which is 3rd in the AFC. Barrett Robbins in his 2nd year, the starting center. The Raiders feel he will continue the tradition of excellence and longevity at that spot. Jet and Brown, the split receivers. They'll start it on the ground with Kaufman, and he dives for about 4 yards. The Viking defense has struggled, but they do have 3-time Pro Bowler John Randall up front since '93. His 44 sacks coming into the weekend lead the NFL. Dixon Edwards, a fine acquisition from Dallas, leads the team in tackles. Is only 4 shy of matching a career best. In the secondary, Dwayne Washington, the big play man, 3 interception returns and a fumble return for a touchdown in less than 3 years in the league. Kaufman across the 25, pounds his way out near the 28-yard line.
Michael, there you go. I mean, this is what you're seeing the Oakland Raiders want to do. They want to come out and pound at that lighter defensive line of the Minnesota Vikings. Napoleon Kaufman, a guy who can run inside and outside because of his quickness.
The Vikings defense almost set up backward from what you would normally expect. They need to be ahead to be at their best. And there's Foge Fazio, the defensive coordinator. Third and a couple. Hostetler to throw. Now he'll run for the first down and dives to the 31. Hostetler's mobility has always been a great asset.
It really is, Mike, but the thing that Jeff does now is he's into the game totally. He tries to go for the short pass to get a first down. Okay, he doesn't have what he wants. Now, instead of trying to challenge it, he realized he only needs 3 yards. He gets out and gets down. I mean, Haas is playing as well as he's played, I think, in the last 3 or 4 years as a Raider coach, as a Raider.
Dixon Edwards, the acquisition from Dallas, a key to stopping the run. Here's Kaufman hit in the backfield and dropped at the line of scrimmage. Good defensive play by Jason Fisk, the 2-year man out of Stanford. Now, he helps them be a little more physical up front.
And when I talked to Foge Fazio earlier today, he said that Jason Fisk, the one thing he can do is he can fire the gaps and get off the ball real quick. That's his big strength, and that's exactly what we saw there.
The Vikings missing 2 starters on the down line tonight, Alexander and Tuaolo, and their strong safety Robert Griffith also out. 2nd and 11. Motion. And that was the tight end Andrew Glover, who was playing fullback tonight because of an injury to Derek Fenner and the absence of Joe Aska.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 66 and number 87.
Bob McElwee, the referee, making the call. What a shock, a flag on the Raiders.
Well, it is a little bit of a shock, Mike, only because their defense has been the side of the ball that's committed a lot of it. You take a look at these penalties, the most in the NFL this season, 98, most penalty yards, 778. That time it was an offensive illegal procedure, not something they do often. Maybe they're trying to catch up to the defense.
2nd and 16 after the 5-yard walk-off. The quick out to Jet. Back past the original line of scrimmage out near the 32-yard line. Washington over there on the coverage. So they had a 2nd and 11, gained 5 on that 2nd and 16, gained 6 on that play, but the penalty leaves them with a 3rd and 10. Harvey Williams in the lineup, so is Darryl Hobbs as they go to 3 wide. Vikings come with a 4-man rush. Hostetler with time. Tipped twice, incomplete. Off the hands of Ricky Dudley, and Harlan Barnett nearly had a shot at it. Dixon Edwards also back there.
Jeff Hostetler figuring, all right, I'll work the inside against the linebackers and the strong safety. Of course, Ricky Dudley, you have to remember, Mike, he's not played a lot of football. And I'm sure he hasn't played in a lot of weather like this. So to handle a high, hard one is not going to necessarily be that easy for him.
Gossett to punt to Amp Lee, who waits back inside his 30 as David Palmer, injured and can't play tonight, 8th in the conference in punt returns. Low returnable kick for Lee at the 29. Amp Lee, midfield and more. There is a marker down back at the 38 after a 26-yard return on a low driving 39-yard punt. Speaking of penalties, the Vikings are 3rd in the NFL in penalties.
Number 81 during the return. 10-yard penalty. First down.
And moving up as we speak. The Vikings will have the ball when we come back. The Vikings get their first possession. Brad Johnson with Leroy Horde, the newly acquired free agent. They want to run with Leroy Horde. And big number 44 roars out to the 34-yard line. For Minnesota's offense, Brad Johnson starts for the injured Warren Moon. He was ineffective in his last start, but has played well otherwise. Chris Carter having another Pro Bowl year. With 5 catches tonight, he would rise to number 11 all-time in NFL receptions. Up front, Randall McDaniel, the only lineman with more than 4 years in the NFL. He is a 7-time Pro Bowler. Warren Moon with the bad ankle, who will celebrate his 40th birthday tomorrow, simply cannot go tonight. Leroy Horde again pounding toward the 35, about a yard shy of a first down. The Raider defense anchored by Chester McLaughlin, a Pro Bowler the last 2 years. He leads the team with 4 sacks. It took Mike Jones 4 years to become a starter, but with his speed and quickness, he's been the Raiders' top tackler ever since. And Terry McDaniel has been to 4 straight Pro Bowls and leads the team in interceptions. He has 31 in his career. It will be 3rd and a yard for the Vikings. Amp Lee checks into the lineup for the first time. He'll be the single setback. Johnson couldn't find his receiver, dives, got a first down. Good presence of mind by Brad Johnson. They went for a quick shot, couldn't find it.
When I talked to Brian Billick, the Vikings offensive coordinator, earlier today, he told me that Brad Johnson's probably going to have to run for some first downs on 3rd and short or 3rd and long if the Vikings want a chance to win. Now, they talk about the running game, Mike, and what's important, as Brian said, is the running game can come from the quarterback as well as Leroy Hoard tonight. So just don't look for it out of the running backs.
But that was simply something that Warren Moon on that bad ankle could not do. Johnson to throw on first down. Airs it out for Carter, overthrown by 5 yards. Good coverage by Albert Lewis, and McLaughlin was putting the pressure on.
Chester McLaughlin, number 91, is a presence always in the middle. He's up against David Dixon, number 71, who's 360 pounds. Now, you got a lot of beef. There's a pair of 300-pounders just going at one another.
There's McLaughlin, last 2 Pro Bowls. Guilty of 3 times jumping off sides a week ago. Delay, Hoard, nothing. Nice tackle by John Stone. Russell Maryland came in to help out. Leroy Hoard, who had some fine seasons for Cleveland, started this season with Baltimore, then went to Carolina for 3 games. He is very grateful to have another opportunity to play in the NFL.
And right now, he really is the Vikings' best running back. Even though he's only been there a short period of time, he gives them a little more versatility in the running back position than, say, a Scotty Graham or even an Amp Lee does.
3rd and 9. Here comes the blitz. Johnson unloads. He's got a first down out to the 49-yard line. Nice job by the offensive line. And they got the pass to Jake Reed for his first catch.
And a nice job by Amp Lee picking Albert Lewis up coming off the corner. Albert Lewis is not going to come with a lot of tenaciousness. He's been injured a little bit. But Amp Lee sets up real nice and protects Brad. Watch the left side of your screen. Number 32. He knows who he's got. Does a nice job of standing in and giving his quarterback a little room, not getting knocked back into his lap.
First down at the 49 for Minnesota. Hoard. Nice cutback for Leroy Hoard, and second effort gets him across the 45 to the 43. When Robert Smith was injured, the running game totally disappeared. Now, Denny Green said last night, what would Dallas do without Emmitt Smith? But he still brings in Leroy Hoard. And look what they did the last 3 games. 11, 48, and 15. 11 yards rushing.
But, Mike, when you take a look at the defensive side of it, they have so much of a problem because they're on the field so long. They're giving up 199, 200 yards, and 96 yards. So they do coincide with one another.
So they would love to control the clock. And Hoard is the guy who they're counting on to do it. This time they give it to Scotty Graham, who gets his first carry of the ball game. Graham out of Ohio State. He was actually the blocking back for Robert Smith when he was there.
The other thing you want to focus on for the Minnesota Vikings is the right side of their line consists of David Dixon, 360, Corey Stringer, 360, and starting a rookie, Hunter Goodwin at tight end, who's 275. If they're going to run, Mike, I think they might want to run to that side.
Good choice. 3rd and 3. Amp Lee is the setback. Play action by Johnson. He's in trouble. Swilling chasing. Bought time and throws for a first down at the Raider 37-yard line. What a job by Brad Johnson, just juking back and forth to keep Swilling away from it.
And Pat Swilling did exactly what the defense requires him to do. Hold, contain. He doesn't buy the fake now. He's behind Johnson. He puts his hands up. When Johnson stops, he stops. But the footing out there isn't that great. Brad buys just a little more time. Of course, performs the cardinal sin of a quarterback, throwing back across the field. Every now and then, though, you get away with one.
That was really nifty. He's got a first down. Hoard back in. Johnson wants to throw on first down, and incomplete. Tried to get it to his tight end, Greg DeLong. He couldn't hold on. Lewis with the coverage.
Greg DeLong has a total of 4 receptions all year. Albert Lewis is what one might deem a perennial all-pro.
Yeah.
I think you might call that a mismatch.
You don't want to go there very often.
Not if, you know, that was a good job by the Raiders of figuring out who the Vikings might want to go after.
Spot the ball just inside the 38-yard line. 6:28 to go. First quarter, there is no score. Back to Horde. And Leroy Horde cracks through a huge gap down to the 25-yard line. Eddie Anderson made the tackle. Right now, you've got to say Leroy Horde is a heck of an investment.
Oh, he really is. But again, which side did they run to? They ran on the right side. McDaniel coming off 64 does a nice job on the nose. And Stussy on the other side does a nice job of sealing off the backside. That's very important, Mike. They call the onside where you're running. The backside is the side away. Most guys make tackle in pursuit.
Horde, 5 carries, 28 yards here in the first quarter. Horde off the left side. Got a hole there and slaps his way down to the 21-yard line. Dennis Green said he was going to make a change in the offensive line tonight, putting Dixon in there for John Jarek, who's about 285, and said he's just a little guy. That makes them more physical up front.
It does. And the thing you want to look at, you talk about physical, Randall McDaniel against Chester McLaughlin, number 64 against number 91. It's a wrestling match. That's all it is. It's a wrestling match, and he doesn't get the takedown, but I think he gets a point for control.
Yeah, he does. That's right. Almost got the takedown. 13th play of this drive coming up. Scotty Graham is the running back. Johnson unloads. Reed went inside. The pass went outside. Terry McDaniel was back there, but it was the pattern that caused the incompletion.
One thing that's unique about the way the Minnesota Vikings work their practice schedule with their quarterbacks is because of Warren Moon's age, he only really works Wednesday and Thursday. Brad Johnson works the entire practice on Friday. That's very unusual because most starters, I was one, just didn't want the other guy to work at all. And so for Brad to miscue like that, you can't blame it on not getting enough work.
3rd and 6. Here comes the blitz. Again, good protection. What a catch inside the 10-yard line. Jake Reed with a marvelous catch. It will be 1st and goal for the Vikings.
That's what a guy who's 6'3" can give you. He's not only that, he's got long arms. Can't get it off unless you get good protection. Good job up front by Christie and Dixon. So he's got the time to throw. Now watch this catch. Falling down, slipping and coming back. Unbelievable.
Terry McDaniel was right there. Still, it's a 1st down, 1st and goal. Horde with Evans in there as the blocking back. Leroy Horde trying to get outside. That one isn't going to work. Although Horde manages to get a yard out of it by cutting back inside.
People like to look at running backs and they run 60 yards and everybody says, oh, what a great run. You can have great runs that gain 1 yard. That was a great run by Leroy Horde. His patience at waiting for a little seam to open up and taking a 4-yard loss and making it a 1-yard gain.
Scotty Graham comes in the game. Dennis Green couldn't have asked for anything better. They used up nearly 8 minutes off the clock. They have run the ball effectively. Johnson, play action. And throws this one away. He tried to get it to Chris Carter on the quick post. Carter was very well covered. And then Johnson made the good decision and just got rid of it.
Yeah, when in doubt, throw to the guy in the yellow poncho. I mean, that was one of my philosophies all along. Dennis Green, you're right, Mike. He's getting out of his offense exactly what he hasn't gotten the last 3 weeks. Control of the ball game, especially early.
Both teams came in with the mindset, we're going to run the football. 3rd and goal. Johnson dumps it off to Graham. Scotty Graham down to the 2-yard line.
Oh, there should be no hesitation for him to try and kick the field goal. Dennis Green can't even think about this. Nice presence by Brad Johnson. Good job by that offensive line. Great initial strikes, and then he just dumps it off to the guy that's checking down. Sometimes, Mike, the guy that's right in front of you, it's so hard to see him. I mean, it's hard to explain, but you're looking down the field and you can't find him. That time he did.
Scott Sisson trying to make this drive pay off with at least 3. It will be from 22 yards. And Sisson connects. An impressive first quarter drive for the Minnesota Vikings. They make it pay off. They're up 3-0. The penalty, there's nothing new in that. Many years they've led the NFL in penalties, but these are different kind of penalties that are hurting them now.
They really are, Mike. They used to commit penalties of aggression, you know, the 15-yarders, and they could live with them. Now what they're doing is they're committing penalties of careless nature, like an offsides we saw in the first drive, or like jumping offsides on defense.
Berger to kick off as the Vikings have a 3-0 lead. Kaufman and Kidd deep to return, and Berger again sticks it into the end zone, and the Raiders will take it at the 20-yard line. Timeout on the field, 2:45 to go first quarter, a 3-0 Viking lead. Al Davis of the Oakland Raiders. How many times have we seen his face after a major penalty has hurt the Raiders either offensively or defensively? It seems to be a thing that you just show it all the time.
And nothing hurts him more, Mike. I mean, Al Davis is so committed to winning and so committed to excellence that when something like that happens, he eats him up inside.
Kaufman is the deep back in the end, and he'll get the carry. Tries to cut it outside. Harlan Barnett is there coming up from his safety spot along with the corner, Corey Fuller, number 27. This is a good Vikings defense, but they have always predicated everything on being ahead and being able to really run and play freelance football. In the past few weeks, they haven't been ahead. They've been getting killed.
They're more a quickness defense than a power defense, Mike. They rely on getting to the ball. They rely on making sure that the offense has to throw the football. And John Randall's as good as it is at getting to the quarterback.
He is their superstar on defense. They'll try to run the sweep with Kaufman, and the Vikings string it out beautifully, and Napoleon Kaufman hit out of bounds. There is a flag on Minnesota. Kaufman clearly out of bounds when he was hit, and we mentioned the Vikings are not far behind the Raiders in stupid penalties.
No, and that one ranks right up there. You know, they're third, Mike, but they're trying to get to second real fast.
Personal foul, late hit out of bounds, 42 defense, 15 yards. First down.
That's Harlan Barnett, who is starting at strong safety for Robert Griffith.
Napoleon Kaufman just trying to outrun this defense and can't. Gets to the sideline. Now he's out of bounds, and then he delivers the blow. I mean, you got to be hitting with your eyes closed. That's the only thing I can think of. Plus, see, that kind of a play for the Raiders on offense, Mike, just won't work. The Viking defense is built to run sideline to sideline. If you're going to hurt them, you're going to have to hurt them straight ahead. Especially when you got a 36-pound per man difference.
And they've got two tight ends right now, Glover and Dudley, both in there. Play action by Hostetler. Over the middle behind Tim Brown, and it hit Corey Fuller in the hand. Prime Monday, tomorrow night at 7:30. Mike Tirico and Sterling. 2nd and 10 for the Oakland Raiders. They're down 3-0. Kaufman slips a tackle, then is overwhelmed at the 43. He came into the game averaging 6.2 yards a carry, and now is getting most of the work as opposed to Harvey Williams.
You know what's incredible about that, Mike? He's carried the ball prior to tonight 72 times. This isn't a guy who's carried the ball 15 times and is averaging 6 yards. He's carried the ball, 70 some odd times, and he's still averaging 6.2 a carry.
5'9", 180, exceptionally strong bench presses, over 400 pounds, so he can take the pounding. 3rd and 7, Harvey Williams checks in. 4-man rush, good protection for Hostetler, now forced. On the run, incomplete. Woods got, or Darrell Hobbs got a hand on it, couldn't hold it. And Corey Fuller was right there with him, so the Raiders will have to punt again.
The Raiders are not doing on offense what they wanted to do, Mike. They're forced to throw. They're coming up in 3rd and longs. Give a lot of credit to that Minnesota Viking defense that's missing 3 starters, stopping the run.
Dennis Reed made a good point, though. He said instead of playing 3 guys who are better players who are hurt, we're playing 3 healthy guys tonight. Gossett to punt to Amp Lee. Nice high floater this time. And Lee makes the fair catch inside the 20. 48 seconds to go in the first quarter. A 3-0 Viking lead.
In our spotlight, how do you neutralize the greatest defensive tackle in the last 3 years in the game? Well, you go right after him with a lot of humanity. Take a look at this. They double team him and go right at him. Gogan and Kennedy had 650 pounds of humanity at John Randall again, coming after him again and just driving him back. But look what happens when you single him. When you single him, he walks Wisniewski right back to Hostetler. And look at these numbers so far on John Randall. He has been doubled 6 of 10 times. They've rushed at him 3 for 7 yards, 4 for 9 yards, no tackles, 1 quarterback hit. Mike?
All right, Mark, thank you. And he was really hurt when Henry Thomas left this ball club because they formed a tremendous tandem in there as tackles. You had to double team one of them every time. Back to the ground game, and Leroy Horde will pick up a couple. Psychologically, the Vikings have to be extremely encouraged after that opening drive, and everybody is going to be Leroy Horde's new best friend.
Well, you know, the thing is, too, Mike, they're running on 2nd and long. This is normally a passing situation with a healthy Warren Moon in there, and this just lends support to Brad Johnson.
Evans in motion. Play action for Johnson. And he throws wide of Evans. Evans didn't help Brad Johnson very much that time. He went out and set. Johnson started to throw, and he moved inside 2 steps, and the ball went whistling by him.
You know, that's what happens when you get a guy who's not a natural receiver. Natural receivers have the ability to see where a defensive guy is coming from and anticipate the move to an area for the quarterback. When you're a running back like Charlie is, you know, it's just something alien to him.
And he only has 11 catches all year. Amp Lee is back in there on 3rd and long. Johnson with time, throws a strike to Reed. Jake Reed is gone. 82 yards for a touchdown.
82 yards for a touchdown.
Terry McDaniel had a shot at him and couldn't make the tackle.
You've got a physical mismatch with Jake Reed and Terry McDaniel. One's 5'10", the other's 6'3". But also, Mike, Terry McDaniel's strength, I think, is his quickness. He jumps inside, and what happens is Jake just gets up the field. And the field conditions being where they are, everybody sort of goes flying by, and a big guy just takes off and keeps on running.
Jake Reed with his 5th touchdown catch of the year and his longest play of the season. Brad Johnson, who would be 3rd in the NFC if he had enough attempts as far as quarterback ratings are concerned, throws an 82-yard strike to Reed. Reed in the first quarter, 106 yards on 3 catches. Scott Sisson for the point after. The end of the first quarter, a spectacular play and a 10-0 Minnesota lead. Hey, Boomer, how about the one we had? That ranks up there with the breakaway of the day, doesn't it?
There's a breakaway, and there's the guy that did it.
82 yards for Jake Reed from Brad Johnson. 10-0 Vikings. Kidd from the 11-yard line. Has a seam up the middle, cuts it back to the 35. Joe, let's go back to the touchdown pass over Terry McDaniel.
Well, what happens, Mike, is corners like to take different techniques. There's Eddie Anderson. He's watching the tight end. Terry McDaniel's going to jump inside. As Jake Reed leaves, he's just going to trail him. If it was an out ball, he'd have had it, but Jake kept running up the field. Good 5-step drop. Brad gets the ball out in a hurry. Terry's caught behind him, and now with Jake's size and speed, no one's going to bring him down one-on-one. 82 yards later, you get a touchdown.
If that ball isn't thrown on a line, Eddie Anderson gets there.
Exactly.
Kaufman is the setback. Let's see if the Raiders stick to the ground. They do on first down, and Kaufman is stuck to the ground after a big hit by Harlan Barnett.
That's the other thing that the Vikings do on defense. They get their safeties up around the line of scrimmage. Very similar to what you see at a San Francisco safety, and really specifically Merlin Hanks. Here comes the no huddle now by the Oakland Raiders.
3 wide receivers to the near side, 1 to the left. Hostetler, that ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage. And the fans are restless.
Well, and you know something? That was blocked well. Just, you got to give credit to that relentless front four of the Minnesota Vikings. This is the, I've renamed this. This is the H gun for Haas. You have the K gun up in Buffalo. Right. This is the H gun here in Oakland.
Well, the H gun is firing blanks right now. 1 out of 5 for 6 yards. Hostetler forced to roll out of the pocket. Throws on the run to Tim Brown. His favorite receiver down to the 43-yard line. Sean Van Horst made the tackle, but the 62nd catch of the year for Tim Brown on a pace to break the club record.
Again, Haas buying a little bit of time. Good pass protection. That's big Kevin Gogan on Randall. Just takes him down inside. Haas slides on out. Tim Brown, the all-pro receiver he is, just finds the soft spot in the zone.
Trails only Fred Biletnikoff and Cliff Branch in Raiders history. And when you talk about Raider wide receivers, you're talking an extensive and glorious history. Barrett Roberts shaken up, the center. He'll come off under his own steam.
Now, this is usually a concern for a coach. When a center comes out, you got the quarterback with a new center. But in the case of the Raiders, it's Dan Turk, a 12-year veteran, so you don't anticipate having to change anything.
Turk out of Wisconsin, 6'4", 290. Raiders in Viking territory as Kaufman checks back in on 1st and 10. 4 wide receivers. Kaufman. Flag is down. This one will come back. Kaufman to the 32-yard line, his best run of the night, but a flag thrown right in the middle of the line.
Holding number 67, offense.
Well, the snap was no problem, but it was a hold on Dan Turk, the new center.
Sometimes you're not up to the tempo. Number 67 right there. You'll see him hang on to Fisk, and there's the left arm in a hook. You got it. You can get it just a little bit, but as long as it's sitting there and the referee or the umpire gets a chance to see it, here come the flags. I wonder how long it takes to do that.
I wonder why they do that. How long, I don't know. The Raiders lead the league in holding calls. Pick a category in penalties. Down to the 39 goes Harvey Williams, who broke it on the delay, 14 yards for Williams. That was on a 1st and 20.
Even though they're down 10 points, they're showing great patience. Joe Bugle, the offensive coordinator here, still loves to run the football in any situation. That's what you're seeing out of the Raiders.
Barrett Robbins back in at center. Williams. Dixon Edwards brings him down after Van Horst came up and put him in a tough position. Nice play by Sean Van Horst, who was on the San Diego Chargers Super Bowl team, and Edwards, of course, with the Dallas Super Bowl teams.
Of course, Sean Van Horst's first interception in this league was off of Warren Moon. Now he's his teammate.
3rd and 5 for Oakland. Hostetler flushed and dropped at the 37-yard line. That's going to be about 4 yards short of the first down. Fernando Smith, the 3rd-year man out of Jackson State, made the tackle.
And that's a nice job by the secondary of the Minnesota Vikings. Jeff Hostetler wanted to go to Tim Brown. That's Corey Fuller, number 27. Remember, you can bump within 5 yards. He's locked up on him. Now he lets him go, and he's trying to work to the middle. Corey Fuller just sort of hanging in there. Good job by Corey. Lock up inside 5 and do what you want. Maul. But after he passes it, let him go.
The Raiders send on Jeff Gossett and the punt team on 4th and 3.
I see D1. Way to go, D1.
Gossett trying to dump it inside the 10. Knocked back and saved. Let's see. The officials will talk this one over. And they're ruling it's a touchback.
I'll tell you why. Carl Kidd, number 46, who makes this play, his right plant foot gets in the end zone. And see, he doesn't reestablish back on the field. Watch his right foot.
Yep.
See? He's in the end zone. Sorry.
Mark, money. Minnesota has the football at its own 20-yard line. Leroy Horde, the single set back behind Brad Johnson. And Leroy Horde bursts through another hole, breaks the tackle, 35, 40. 45-yard line before it's taken out of bounds.
Mike, and 15 of those yards came without a shoe. That one was so impressive. Who says you need spikes to run in this kind of weather? Corey Stringer, number 77, makes that play happen. Watch number 77. There he is. He's just going to collapse it and allow Leroy to get right up the middle. The big guy just comes on down. He's pushing everything in sight. Does a good job of coming up on the safety and allows Leroy to get up into the secondary.
Leroy, 9 carries, 61 yards. That romp was of 25. Scotty Graham will give him a breather, and Graham across the 45. Flag is down. Again in the area where you normally have holding, as Leroy Horde gets reshod.
You know, sometimes it's tough when you have to go into the pits and get that tire refixed.
We got to have Jerry Punch here.
Yeah.
Holding, number 62, offense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Jeff Christie, the 3-year starter at center, called for the hold. So the Vikings give up excellent field position. In the last 3 weeks, the Minnesota Vikings had run for a total in 3 weeks of 74 yards. Leroy Horde is close to matching that here in the first half.
Been everything they wanted him to be and more.
Leroy's got to be thinking, hey, this is my 3rd team this year. I'm glad I'm finally getting a chance to run the ball. Ampli is in. They fake the end around to Ismail. And the pass complete up to the 40 to Andrew Jordan, the tight. 10:19 to go in the half. Johnson with a short set. Chris Carter to the 48-yard line. Chris Carter with his 60th catch of the year.
Chris does a good job of lulling him, and then he just holds position. See how he turns his numbers to Brad? That's what a quarterback is looking for, not shoulders. He wants to see numbers.
That tied him with the great Raymond Berry all time. He said, what a humbling experience to be up there with those guys. Here's the interception. The pick by Terry McDaniel. 56 yards and a touchdown. For Terry McDaniel, the 4th interception of the season, his 32nd career, number 3 all-time Raiders.
You can't make a mistake and throw the ball behind somebody. Chris Carter comes out of his break. You see how the ball's behind him? That ball was a half a step late. And look at Terry McDaniel. We talk about, remember Mike Singletary's eyes? Terry's got those Mike eyes.
Cole Ford for the point after. And the Raiders in one fell swoop get back in a game that had been dominated by the Vikings. 10-7, Terry McDaniel, one of the greatest thieves in the history of the NFL, goes for the score. Brown very happy on the sideline. One of the Raiders assistants, even though his all-time Raider record has just been broken by Terry McDaniel, his 5th interception return for a touchdown in his Raiders career. He's just been brilliant.
So smart. Really plays the game with his head out there, not just his great legs.
Morrow and Ismail are deep to receive. Cadre will bring it out. Ouch. Stuck at the 12-yard line. Carl Kidd down on special teams, drilled it. And the Raiders have some emotion back.
Well, so often, Mike, when the offense is struggling and it's sluggish, I can recall when I played, if the defense goes out and makes a play, all of a sudden everybody gets excited. We just saw it on the special teams, so you know they're pumped. Now it's up to the defense to do it again, get the ball back in the offense's hand, and give them a chance to drive it.
That was you and Riggins and Art Monk and the Hogs. The offense didn't struggle very often.
Well, every now and then.
From the 13, Leroy Horde. Very patient run across the 15 to the 16-yard line.
You know, and for the Vikings, they just have to take the mindset, okay, you know, it's almost like the beginning of the game, except we got 3 points. So let's go back and just do what we've been doing. The Raiders have not stopped Dennis Green's offense running the football yet. So you don't abandon it, you just stay with it.
2nd and 7. What really hurt the Vikings on the last drive was the holding call. Then the interception. Ford again. To about the 18. The worldwide leader in sports brings you the first 24-hour all-sports news network. ESPN News is now the place to turn for breaking news and in-depth stories in the world of sports. To get ESPN News, call your local cable operator or satellite program provider. 3rd and 4 for the Vikings. Amp Lee is in the backfield behind Johnson. Throws late to Cadre Ismail. He's got the first down and more. Cadre to midfield. Jake Reed and Chris Carter downfield blocking for him, and he gains 38. One thing you can tell about Brad Johnson, he doesn't panic. He waits to find somebody.
No, he really is a pocket passer, and he's polished enough to be able to stay there. But watch the job that Amp Lee does on Chester McLaughlin. He's just hanging with him, just gets in his way, and then all of a sudden, Cadre comes across the field real late and does a good job of picking up. But this is an excellent job downfield by Albert Lewis not to commit and allow him to go the distance for 6.
The Raiders have not been particularly sharp in their tackling tonight. Scotty Graham gets a couple before he's wrapped up by Russell Maryland.
The difference in Scotty Graham and Leroy Horde. Horde, if he's hit, he's going to make 2 or 3 more yards. Scotty Graham is only going to get what's blocked. So when he carries the ball, it's going to be a little bit less yards. And, of course, Leroy needs a little repair.
He also looks like he's hanging on to his left wrist or left hand. We'll check on it and pass it along as soon as we get it. Play action. Johnson being rushed. Throws. Nice catch. Down to the 37-yard line. Charles Evans that time made the nice grab on the little swing. Mike Morton shoved him out of bounds.
Boy, if you don't get to Chester McLaughlin, he can make some penetration. Randall McDaniel, Dixon can't cut him off. And look at his speed. And that man's 325 pounds. Vikings doing a nice job of moving Brad Johnson. He's rolling to the left, rolling to the right, not just sitting in the pocket, giving the Raiders a stationary target.
3rd and 3. And the Raiders want a timeout. Mike Jones didn't like what he saw with the 4 wide receivers and called time with 6:18 to go in the half. Back to Oakland in a moment. Whirling around, has his team at 5-5. He can't afford a loss. Johnson under pressure. Floats it. Carter run over. No flag, and Chris Carter screaming at the official as Lorenzo Lynch just ran over Chris Carter.
Well, you see the officials sort of like they're waving back high hair. What it is, the ball was considered uncatchable, and he was out of bounds, so there really shouldn't be any. See where the white line is? Right now, he's out of bounds. So Lynch's contact really is irrelevant, and they say that it was an uncatchable ball. I don't agree with the uncatchable ball.
I don't buy that at all.
But he was out of bounds already, Mike, and so that doesn't matter. That would be the only way that would be a justifiable call. That was certainly not an uncatchable ball.
They will go for it on 4th and 3. They caught the Raiders off guard. Their defense not set. Now Johnson trying to scramble for it, and he doesn't make it. The Vikings got everything they could ask for. The Raiders weren't set. They were looking around wondering what defense to be in, and they still didn't make it. A huge momentum play in the second quarter. Dennis Green gambled. Right now he lost, going for it on 4th and 3.
Mike, I don't like the decision. Your defense hasn't given up anything yet. Now all of a sudden you sacrifice field position in a close game. Chester McLaughlin, I think, did a terrific job. I believe this was a quarterback draw all the way. The problem was Chester really didn't go far enough up the field. Good individual effort by Chester McLaughlin.
The Raiders have done virtually nothing on offense, but their defense has given them a touchdown, and they're down by only 3. Hostetler. That play doesn't work at all as Ricky Dudley appeared to catch the ball right at the line of scrimmage and then was just run over by 3 Viking defenders.
This game is going exactly the way Dennis Green scripted it. The offense is to take control. The defense is getting rested and being able to run after wherever the Raiders have to go.
Raiders in the hurry up on 2nd and 7. Go back to the run game with Kaufman. He ran into Hostetler on the handoff and loses 4. Dixon Edwards made the tackle. Good protection for Hostetler. Throws over the middle. He's got the first down. The completion to Jet. Harlan Barnett made the hit, but way too late to stop the pass.
Good job by that offensive line. That time the Vikings decided to rush 5. And Haas does a nice job of sliding over and finding a passing lane and just hangs the ball up in the middle. Jet, good job in concentration.
Raiders in Viking territory just outside the 47. Kaufman, big hole. Brady makes the tackle, but not before he picks up nearly 9 yards.
Mike, the reason why this no-huddle works so effectively for the Raiders is you have to respect the speed outside. They go with 3 wide receivers. Ricky Dudley is as good a receiver as you'll find, and the 5 guys in the middle are huge.
That really opens it up for Kaufman, as it does again. Napoleon Kaufman with 1 man to beat, brought down on a saving tackle by Orlando Thomas.
They've got this Minnesota Vikings defense backpedaling right now. Ricky Dudley, number 83, on Dixon Edwards, just slides him outside. All you need is a body on a body when you're lined up across the board.
First down Raiders, down by 3, but driving. Hostetler changes the play. Throws for the end zone and overthrown. Good coverage there by Corey Fuller, who was right on top of Darryl Hobbs. Hostetler swings it to Kaufman, 1-on-1, and a solid tackle by Dwayne Washington.
Brought down by Dwayne Washington.
Kaufman in the open
goal range for Ford.
Hostetler on 3rd and 11 in trouble. Flag is down and gets rid of it. Kaufman again. Another solid tackle by Washington. Now we'll check the penalty, and it's another hold against the Raiders. Williams in the lineup. Looked like early movement from the left tackle Jenkins. They'll whistle the play dead. So the Raiders, probably with back-to-back penalties, this has killed them all year.
Prior to the snap, ball start, number 64.
Penalty derby. And now we've reached the 2-minute warning. Four-man rush. Hostetler throws short. James Jett can't slip a tackle. Down at the 35. From here, it would be a 52-yard field goal attempt. And here comes the punt team with Gossett.
That's the right decision. You have all your timeouts left. The
2-10. Clock running down to 1 minute 20 seconds. Gossett hangs it very, very high. Fair catch made at the 14. Let's go to Mark Malone.
Thanks, Mike. Chester McLaughlin, the defensive tackle for the Oakland Raiders. In our Packard Bell spotlight, the often lauded defensive tackle has been up and down so far tonight. Early in the game, the only play he made in the first quarter, splits the double team. Watch the hit, bam, on Scotty Graham for no gain.
Extreme talent if they can get him to go every play. Ampley in there on 1st and 10, and they'll give him the ball on the draw. Ampley with a little hesitation move up to the 26. That'll be a first down. Mike Jones made the tackle. The Vikings have all of their timeouts.
That got them as much as they needed to get them into their 2-minute mode to try and score.
They'll try it again. Ampley just picks his way across the 30. I think the feeling right here might be we have played so well, we've made one mistake and it cost us. Let's not make another one.
I don't agree with it. I think if you have that much time and that many timeouts, you got to try and get 3.
Johnson with time. Chris Carter, nice catch in traffic up to the 37-yard line. Dennis Green signaling for a timeout. Will just go with a quarterback keeper and nearly dehorned by Eddie Anderson for his trouble.
Mike, they're going to run it down to the half, but I don't agree with it. They had over 1 minute and 10 seconds to try and make a play, and now they call the timeout. And you got me. I mean, I do not. I think just a little bit more intriguing.
Let's see if they go with a Hail Mary. This is the play that worked on the last play of the half last week for San Diego. Johnson steps up, guns this one down the middle. It's going to be picked off. Lorenzo Lynch with the interception. Here is the danger of making a play like that. Can Lynch take it back? Brought down at the 39. A 37-yard return, so the Vikings conservative, and then they gamble. That's the end of the first half. The score, 10-7 Vikings. Now let's join Chris Berman at the ESPN News Desk for the Acura Halftime Report. Performance by the Minnesota Vikings. Total yards more than doubled. The passing yards 182 to 55, and the Vikings, who had 74 rushing yards in 3 total games, have 92 in this half.
And time of possession also, Mike. I mean, the Raiders caught up a little bit, 16-13. That's something the Vikings haven't enjoyed. And the penalties. Both teams are very high in the league, but yet have not really committed a lot through the first half.
(10-7) Minnesota. They'll get the football as Cole Ford has it teed up at the 30.
Minnesota Vikings have to do a little bit better job on offense than they did the last 2 series of that last half, Mike.
There's some strange calls from that last 2 series. Ismail and Morrow, the deep return men. Ismail has to hustle up to the 11-yard line. Nice wedge in front of him, and Kadri breaks it across the 30 to about the 32-yard line.
Big thing that the Vikings have done, Mike, is run the football. That's been the big difference. You see 3 rushes to the left for 16 yards, 13 up the middle. But really, he started up the middle and worked to the right, where this guy, Dave Dixon, is 350 pounds, and Corey Stringer's 360. They've only tried to go 2 times out to the right. And I would look for the Vikings to continue to do exactly what they did in the first half. Run the football with Leroy Horde up the middle, veering to the right.
They'll try the left side this time, and Horde hitting the backfield, lost the football. It looks like the Vikings got it back. Leroy Horde had it knocked loose, and Todd Stussy hustling after it Chester McLaughlin, the man who knocked it away.
Well, you got a mismatch, I think, over there. You got Randall McDaniel, who's an all-pro, yeah, but you got Chester McLaughlin. He just blows right by. I mean, this guy is quick. He's just not some defensive tackle that just takes up space. This guy can flat play, and he's playing tonight.
Stussy's hustle keeps the ball for the Vikings. Loss of only a yard. Fake the reverse to Kadri. The screen to Lee. Blockers in front. And Lee. Thrown out of bounds near the 35-yard line by Lorenzo Lynch.
Lorenzo Lynch on the tackle for the Raiders.
And Lee did not do a terrific job of following those blockers. He ended up with 2 blockers on 1 man and ran right at him.
But you know who that 1 man was? Chester McLaughlin. I mean, he is all over the field. That time he runs out and gets in the middle of the screen. I mean, Chester has really taken it upon himself to play like a demon tonight.
Ampley and Charles Evans check into the backfield on 3rd and 5. Johnson in trouble, throws in, no, it's caught. Evans, but he is brought down in the backfield by Mike Jones, who did a nice job of shadowing him out in the flat. There's a marker down.
There is no flag on the field.
That was a shoot. It looks like a flag. The line makes it look a little yellow. Well, Mike White's defense has done exactly what he wanted him to do. They've stopped the Minnesota Vikings. Now they get the ball back on offense, where they really haven't done much tonight.
Mitch Berger, who has the lowest net punting average in the NFL, only 32.1 yards a kick, will punt to Tim Brown as the rain starts to come down a little harder. They came after him and almost got there. Brown signals fair catch, makes it at the 30. A 35-yard punt, no return. It's a 3-point game.
NFL is brought to you by Pep Boys. 26,000 items at the guaranteed low price. Tires and service too. Everything but gas. By Gateway 2000. Personalized computers shipped factory direct. And by Cadillac and your Cadillac dealers.
First time tonight, the Vikings have gone 3 and out. It gives the Raiders the football at their own 30-yard line. Derek Fenner is in there playing on a tender ankle. He's in front of Napoleon Kaufman. Play action by Hostetler, in trouble from behind, got away. Complete to midfield, Tim Brown. Whenever he needs a big play, Jeff Hostetler always finds Tim Brown.
And, you know, also converse to that, Mike, Tim Brown will always get in the vision of Jeff Hostetler to give him a chance to throw the football. He's working from the outside. Now he just runs down, pushes up, does a nice shake. You see the discipline in the route. There wasn't anybody there for him to try and fake out. He just does that for timing purposes.
Back to the ground with Kaufman. 3, maybe 4 yards to the Viking 47.
The Oakland Raiders wanted to try and run the football tonight against this Minnesota defense, and they have. They've tried to run up the middle, but really what they're looking to do is go up the middle, and again, like we talked about Minnesota, break it out to the right. Here you've got Kevin Gogan at 300-plus pounds and Lincoln Kennedy. This is where you want to work if you're the Oakland Raiders offensively. And there's a guy who can make running games, Joe Bugle, who I'm sure will be a head coach somewhere in this league next year again, certainly deserves it.
Second call at 7. Pressure on Hostetler. And he's sacked back at the 45. 3 Vikings came right through the offensive line, and there's a marker down.
Credit Dixon Edwards, number 59, who beat Napoleon Kaufman to force Jeff out of the pocket.
Edwards, Brady, and Martin Harrison all applying pressure on Hostetler.
And that's all what they do well. They're not big guys, they're speed guys.
Illegal motion, 81 offense, penalty is declined. 3rd down.
Now that's a good call. Tim Brown will start in motion. Then you'll see him move forward just a little bit, and you'll see what happens. Here comes Tim Brown. All right, now, he starts upfield. Can't do that. Can't be moving forward. Here comes Dixon Edwards. Napoleon Kaufman waits to try and block him. Can't do that either. That's 2 can'ts on 1 play.
3rd and 14. Hostetler again under pressure. And this not anywhere near first down yardage on a completed pass down to the Viking 48-yard line. And here comes the punt team. Ricky Dudley makes the short catch underneath the first-round draft choice out of Ohio State.
I tell you, Mike, Foge Fazio has done an excellent job with this defensive football team. And really, as he and Dennis Green told us, the big thing is they now have healthy football players. With Derek Alexander and Ezra Tuatolo last week playing at about 75%, they couldn't get pressure. Tonight, they're healthy and they're coming after Haas.
Gossett to kick the lead. Beautiful punt by Gossett. Hung very, very high. Lee, fair catch at the 12-yard line. So the Raiders winning the battle of field position. 37-yard punt and no return. The Vikings are dominating this game, but we have seen enough football. You start to get a feeling, and you get the feeling that if they keep playing lackluster right now, the Raiders are going to come back.
You leave the Raiders in this game, and they're going to wind up winning this thing at the end. That's usually been the case. I think the important thing for Minnesota now is they have to sustain a drive and give their defense a chance to stay on the sidelines a little while and get some rest.
They'll start from their own 12. Johnson to throw on first down. Now being pressured. Swilling from behind. The ball comes loose. The referees are going to call it down at the 1-foot line. Swilling wanted the safety. Pat Swilling came from the blind side, as he has so many times throughout his career, and Johnson never saw him.
That's exactly what we were talking about, Michael. You get defense already has made one big play. Here's another one. Watch Pat Swilling come from the top of the screen. He just takes Todd Stussy. Stussy does the right thing. This sack should go to Brad Johnson. What he does is he's trying to make a play. He's just got to get rid of the football.
Well, that ball looks precariously close to the goal line.
But his knee hit.
But where was the ball when his knee hit?
Obviously not in the end zone.
Right. If you say so, it looked like it was in there to me.
Yeah, but his knee was on the ground before.
The Raider fans on their feet. Johnson to throw on first down. Completed pass out to the 3, and Greg DeLong, his tight end, is spun down by Eddie Anderson. There was a gutsy call.
You know, I like that call, because if you're starting a running back from 4 yards deep, with the penetration that the defensive line of the Raiders have gotten tonight, for sure it's going to be a safety. You come out, you fire block, you dump it out, now you got a little bit of breathing room. This is where Brad Johnson has got to be careful. If you're going to throw it long down the field. Don't try and throw an out ball.
And none of his teammates can hear him down that close to the end zone. Blitz. Mike Jones makes the tackle. Ampley never had a chance.
Mike Jones in his 6th year out of Missouri. Really coming on. Settled in comfortably to the outside linebacker position. That time he fills in a hurry.
Now Berger really needs a good kick in this position, and Tim Brown waits near the 40-yard line. Beautiful punt. Drives Brown all the way back to his own 46-yard line. Slips a couple of tackles and brought down at the 49. Great coverage by the Vikings on special teams. Pete Bursich is down to make the stop. They are. It's 10-7. Vikings by 3. Raider fans are psyched here in Oakland. And the Raiders have great field position at the Viking 49. Harvey Williams will start this series as the tailback. Hostetler with a throw on first down. Throws tipped, incomplete. The Oakland Raider offense has done absolutely nothing tonight. Look at the possessions. even when they get 5, 6, 8 plays, it doesn't translate into yards. It doesn't translate into points. Their only points came off an interception.
I call this a shotgun style of offense. You run a little bit, you throw a little bit, you grab here, you do this, you do that. Mike White and Joe Bugle, the offensive coordinator, have not committed to try and do anything. You can't just run once or twice and abandon it. That's what they've done.
2nd and 10. Hostetler throws and threw it behind Brown. He was covered by Darryl Talley.
Now what they've basically done on offense, Mike, is they have allowed Minnesota now to dictate to them with that quick little defensive line and say, hey, look, we know you're not going to run. We're coming after you, Haas. There's Buggs.
Yeah, that says it all, doesn't it?
Picture's worth 1,000.
Hostetler only 8 out of 15 for 81 yards, facing a 3rd and 10 here. Has time over the middle. Dudley, and what a shot at the 25, but he hangs on. Orlando Thomas just leveled him, but Dudley with the catch and a nice throw by Hostetler.
It was, Mike, and that's really what the Raider offense has lacked, I think, the last couple of years. They haven't had a tight end who can go down the middle. Ricky Dudley is going to go right down the middle. Safety goes out, safety goes out. He makes a big catch right in the middle. No bump off the field, little hesitation, right straight up the middle. Go get the football. Boy, he has been a great addition to this offense.
1st and 10 Raiders at the 24. To throw again. Williams in the flat. Got a block from Jett. Got down to the 17-yard line. Corey Fuller with the tackle, but the Raiders offense showing signs of life. But Joe, they've almost exclusively gone to the pass.
They have. I think you'll see them run the football on this play. I mean, what Foge wants to do is he's going to have to get some people up around the line. Because in knowing Joe Bugle the way I have over the years, it's 2nd down and short. He wants to give himself a 1st down and take some shots.
Only one wide receiver, that's Hobbs out to the left. Now Brown goes in motion. Williams. Little hesitation inside the 15. They have to get to about the 14.5-yard line for a 1st down.
That's what you want to do on offense. Convert the 1st down. People always say, oh, 2nd and short. What a great opportunity to take a shot. Yeah, then you're 3rd and 3, and somebody's taking a shot at you. I think Mike White and Coach Bugle made the right decision there.
They'll bring in the chain gang to measure. Half a length of a football.
3rd and 1.
The NFL's best pregame show, NFL Countdown, every Sunday at 11:30 a.m. as Chris Berman and the gang will preview all the action. Then at 7 o'clock, it's prime time, where you'll see all the highlights of all the day's games. And at 8 p.m., we'll be in St. Louis as Brett Favre and the Packers take on the Rams. Can't wait to see those Rams wide receivers, and can't wait to see Brett Favre. He has been more brilliant than anyone could have even asked him.
And hope Tony Banks is all right.
Absolutely.
His knee a little bit today.
Charles McCray is in as an extra lineman. He's a tackle eligible. Derek Fenner will have the 1st down as Dixon Edwards made the tackle but couldn't hold it.
The Raiders in the red zone have not been lighting it up. And I think really, like I say, I think it's a direct reflection of the ability to be able to run the football. Yeah, they've converted touchdowns on 54%. And Haas has been absolutely exemplary with 12 touchdown passes, but that's only 13 in the NFL. They've got to keep on pounding here. If they come out and throw on 1st down, it takes away a little of the momentum they've started to build up.
Williams and Fenner, we haven't seen Napoleon Kaufman lately. Now we've got a timeout. The Vikings asked for one with 6:04 to go in the 3rd period. Visa, tonight's topic, quarterbacks in their golden years. Former Raider Vince Evans threw for 6 touchdowns after turning 40. That's good for 3rd all time. Washington's Sonny Jurgensen had 11 touchdown passes, second only to the old man, George Blanda, with 22 touchdown strikes after the age of 40. Well, bake a cake and send it to Warren Moon. He is 40 tomorrow and still got a lot of football left in him, I think.
Took the night off to try and get that foot healed so he can throw some touchdown passes after 40.
1st and 10 for the Raiders. Their best drive of the ball game. Hostetler under pressure, sacked back at the 18-yard line. Another fine play by Jason Fisk, the second-year man out of Stanford.
Mike, you run the football, now you come out and you throw it a little bit, and you take away the momentum that the offense is getting. I believe that you got to reward offensive linemen for things that they do. The little way they get rewarded is by running the football. Let them go hit somebody instead of getting pass rushed and get hit by people.
And what has killed the Vikings during this losing streak is their inability to stop the run. Williams on 2nd and 15. Harvey Williams inside the 10 to about the 8-yard line. Orlando Thomas had to come up from the safety spot and stop it.
Now you're in a must-throw situation, and I believe the advantage goes to the Minnesota Viking defense because they are going to expect the Raiders to throw it, and in all likelihood they're going to have to if they want to pick up the first down. John Randall
really hasn't been that much of a factor tonight. They've double-teamed him almost all night.
Yeah, he's given away a lot of weight, especially when you got 600 pounds pushing you around.
3rd and 6. Hostetler tipped at the line of scrimmage. Knocked away by Fernando Smith, number 95. His first year as a starter at left defensive end.
Now the adventure begins for the Oakland Raiders. Cole Ford missed one 28 yards last week, missed one the week before in Denver for 30. And, you know, this is the kind of thing, Rusty Tillman, the special teams coach for the Raiders, I mean, you just keep trying to pump a guy and give him confidence and give him confidence, but if he doesn't make them, it's tough to keep giving him confidence.
This will be 26 yards to tie. Ford 12 out of 17 for the year, but the 2 misses in the last 2 weeks, the big ones. And Cole Ford comes through this time. There is a marker down. And it's offside against the Vikings.
I don't believe you take points off a board, Mike.
It would only be half the distance, I believe. So it would be a 4th and 3. You don't take the field goal away under that circumstance.
No, I don't think so. You've got the game even.
25 defense. That penalty will be declined.
Good move.
The field goal is good.
The Raiders take the 3. We have a tie ball game. 4:45 left in the 3rd quarter.
In our spotlight, most notably, well, Chris Carter and Jake Reed, they've provided most of the production for this offense. Big-bodied receivers. You can see Carter working the defense for a first down and a possession catch. And then later, Reed, a great catch, a possession catch in front of the defender. And, of course, the touchdown working on McDaniel for the big play. And here are the numbers. We talked about big-time production. The Viking receivers total have collected 13 receptions for 187 yards. Carter and Reed have 5 of those catches for 123 after throwing to them 10 times. 3 of those for first downs, 1 a touchdown. They've got to get back to getting those mismatches and getting the ball to Carter and Reed. Mike?
And Mark, it was interesting talking to Chris Carter last night, who said he was pressing earlier in the year, but then it came to him that he didn't have any 14-point plays in his game. He just had to go out and do what he could do. And that's a lot. The Raiders have tied it up. That's the only offensive production they've had tonight, the field goal, but it's good enough to make it a 10-10 game. Morrow and Ismail deep to receive. Morrow from the 7. Still on his feet and fighting for extra yards to the 24. National Hockey Night, Tuesday at 7:30.
Yager.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Fjords and all that.
Oh, Vikings have to huddle up and get something going now. I mean, they've been shut down twice. They can't put their defense back on the field in another 3 and out.
Pat Swilling out at the start of this series as they have rotated the defensive lineman. Horde on the delay. Leroy Horde rips another big gain off to the 39-yard line. Eddie Anderson had to make the tackle. It's a gain of 14 and 78 yards tonight rushing for Leroy Hoare.
And a number of it's been behind Randall McDaniel. Look at his foot right there. See how his knee goes down and is out on an angle like that? He does a great job on the block. Now what happens was, in his second year in the league, he had a knee injury. Had to come out of the game. The guy that replaced him got hurt. And that was the only way when he went back in, he could get a comfortable stance. And he's kept it ever since.
Nice block by Charles Evans, too.
I mean, that is one wild stance. You'd think he got no power with his left foot way out there, but it forces all the weight onto his right side, and that's the side that he drives with and pushes out with.
And he's almost a throwback lineman at this point because he's only listed at 278 pounds when the rest of these guys are 320 to 360.
Great leverage player. And by that, I mean, Mike, he gets down low, and he's always hitting from low to up instead of trying to push people from top down like a lot of the big guys are.
2nd and 9. Camp Lee will get the carry, hitting the backfield, and didn't get back to the line of scrimmage. A lot of pushing and shoving starting after every play.
That time, Jerry Ball did a great job of firing through. I'll tell you, the interior guys of the Raiders, between McLaughlin, Russell Maryland, and Jerry Ball, they're all big, good run stoppers. Not necessarily going to get you a lot of sacks. I think Chester's the one that can produce sacks for you, but they sure make it tough to run up the middle of a football field.
Leroy Glover is the same. He's another 285. Johnson with time. Jake Reed. Jake Reed to the 34-yard line. A strike from Brad Johnson for 28 yards.
And a good job by that offensive line of the Minnesota Vikings, giving him time. Jake Reed just muscling his way off of Terry McDaniel. Terry again decides to take the inside away. Good patience by Jake. Just that little hint. And Terry's right there, except he falls down. I mean, this field is not exactly the best shape, but it's tough to field it. It's tough to work on this field, and then Brad does a nice job of putting the ball up high.
And Jake Reed is still down.
Never knew that experience. All my guys were little short 5'9"ers.
Reed being attended to.
Got a lot of production out of Jake Reed in the first half. This was his 4th catch for 134 yards. The first catch since the first quarter for him.
And that will give him over 1,000 yards receiving this season. Another milestone for the big guy out of Grambling. And Reed able to get up and walk away from it. You know, you look at that throw from Brad Johnson, and he's in there tonight for Warren Moon. Johnson has not played that much football. He was a starter for only a few games at Florida State. He's been a backup in his years in the pros. This is only his 3rd start this season.
Yeah, Mike, but also it almost brings up the old Cody Carlson situation that Warren Moon had down in Houston. Brad Johnson's going to be a free agent. Warren Moon looks to make $4.3 million because of an extension next year. You know what happened down in Houston? They decided, hey, look, we don't need Warren. Well, where's Cody today? So, I mean, this is a tough decision for the Minnesota Vikings and their organization.
1st and 10 after the big pass to Reed. Chris Walsh is in as a wide receiver. This is Scotty Graham, and Graham will pick up a couple down to the 33-yard line. Under 2 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. McLaughlin again in on a tackle. Guy was hurt first 2 years in the league, weighed as much as 375 pounds. And the Vikings rushing 105 tonight. That's 31 more than they got in the last 3 games combined. 2nd and 9. Johnson under pressure. Throws sideline, and it's complete to Chris Carter down at the 13. Lorenzo Lynch made the tackle, gain of 20.
Good job by the offensive line firing out that time. And again by Brad Johnson moving away from the middle of the football field. Chris Carter goes down, runs the quick post. Now he goes back out to the corner, gets between the defenders. Lynch on one side, McDaniel on the other.
Carter with his third catch has just tied Don Maynard with 633 career catches for 12th all-time in the NFL. Leroy Horde back in there, and Horde will get the carry to the 11-yard line. Greg Biekert made the tackle. When the Vikings get down here, they have had terrible problems making mistakes that take them out of scoring range.
The most penalized team in the red area in the league. And this is the one area where you really try and stress in the huddle. Focus, guys, all right? Pay attention to the snap count. Don't hold. But it's also very critical for the quarterback to make good, quick decisions, because if he holds it, that's when the offensive line gets hung up.
2nd and 8, 2 tight ends. Johnson to throw, pump fake, nobody to throw to. Trying to run and ducks under McLaughlin down at the 7-yard line. You better get down when Chester's chasing you.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something. When Albert Lewis is covering Chris Carter like he did on that one, there is no place to throw the football.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter. The Vikings and the Raiders in a 10-10 tie, but Minnesota is driving. Oakland, 10-10, Vikings and the Raiders. The Vikings wanted desperately to control the football. 24 minutes, 52 seconds, 111 yards on the ground. By far their best output in a month. The Raiders, 18 carries, only 69 yards, and they virtually abandoned the rushing game on their last possession. 3rd down, 4 yards to go. 4 wide receivers set for Minnesota. Quarterback draw, Johnson. Chester right there. McLaughlin was waiting for it.
I like the idea, Mike, except that Brad was in too much of a hurry. He didn't give the secondary a chance to drop, and he didn't give the line a chance to rush. He only goes back a step and a half. By the time Randall McDaniel gets into Chester, Chester's already read the play and is out there making the play.
Scott Sisson will come on to try the field goal that would give them the lead. He's hit from 22. This is from 25. There's a flag down. This was a 4th and 3.
Could be one of the outside guys hooking a rusher.
Offsides Raiders. Talk about critical penalties. They can take the field goal off the board and have a 1st down.
Now, this is a case where I would. You know, I talked before about not taking it off for the Raiders because it wouldn't have given them a 1st down. If you've got a chance to get a 1st down inside the 3-yard line, I think you do it.
The penalty will not give them a 1st down.
Because it would be half the distance to the goal. And Dennis Green says, forget it, I want the 3.
Then I think it's right. Unless you can gain 3 shots at the end zone.
Field goal is good. Timeout.
13-10, Vikings, 14-20.
ESPN Sunday Night NFL is brought to you by Campbell's Chunky, soup that eats like a meal. By Levi's Wide Leg Jeans, it's wide open. And by McDonald's, official break of the NFL.
Mike Patrick, Joe Theismann, Mark Malone. We're back with you in Oakland, California, where the Vikings are leading by a field goal with 14:20 left. Kaufman and Kidd deep to receive. Berger has it set up at the 30. Kicks another high sailor. Kaufman 5 yards deep. He'll bring it out. Napoleon Kaufman to the 21. Tim Brown is not a name we have mentioned very often tonight.
No, the Viking defense has done a good job with him. And really, Mike, he has a lot of places to go on the football field. When you look at him lining up in the slot here, you'll see a lot of different places for him to be able to go. In quick or out, take it up 5 yards now, and that's what he can do. He can go up 10 yards, break it out, hook in. He can push it up the field even a little bit more and take it to the post or corner, or he can actually run all the way across. So there's a lot of flexibility for him on offense. They just haven't been able to find him.
Brown is flanked far to the top of your screen on 1st and 10. Hostetler now trying to run under pressure. Dives across the 25 to the 26. Gain of about 5. Jason Fisk was chasing him along with John Randall.
Now this is a situation where Haas just lost his shoe. I mean, he's going to have to move in a hurry. The officials are cutting him a little bit of a break with the clock.
Now he either has to put it back on himself or leave the field.
I'll tell you, now they'll go to the no huddle, which is something it's great to have. He can take his time, call the play, and not get stuck with a 5-yard delay of game penalty.
2nd and 5. Play clock is at 6. Kaufman on the sweep. Behind those big bodies, he has a 1st down. Chased out of bounds by Dixon Edwards. It's been raining for about a day and a half, and it appears to be getting heavier again. The field has held up pretty well so far.
I saw a couple animals on the freeway in twos. Is that any indication of anything?
Might be. This is the same storm that put 14 inches of rain on the Hawaiian Islands in the last 10 days. Hostetler calling the play at the line of scrimmage. Same play to Kaufman. It worked so well last time, they'll try it again. Same result.
Mike, what you saw with Jeff Hostetler directing traffic up there, Mike White, his coach, told us that what he wanted to do with this no huddle, or the H-gun, as I like to call it, is he wanted to turn the game back over to the quarterback. They're the ones that see what's going on the field. They're the ones that are communicating with the players and getting the input. So he's put it back in Haas's hands, and it's been a very productive offense for him this year.
Hostetler is a very smart quarterback. He was a Rhodes Scholar candidate at West Virginia, turned it down to play pro football. Kaufman on the draw, not this time. Hitting the backfield, dropped for a loss of a couple. Jeff Brady, the middle linebacker, was there in a hurry, as was Dwayne Clemens and Harlan Barnett up from his safety spot.
The defensive inclination when you're up against a spread offense like that is to play zone. That time Foge said, listen, I'm not going to sit here and let you just pound on us. I'm going to come after you a little bit. So that was really a run blitz more than anything else.
3rd and 5. Brady right over the center, now backs out. Hostetler under pressure, trying to throw it. Brady right in the face of the intended receiver, Harvey Williams, and a flag comes down.
I'll tell you, too, that was a great job by Jeff Hostetler just to get the ball out there. He saw Williams was ahead of Brady. He just hung it up. Terrific job of just getting the ball out of the pocket.
Pass interference, number 50, defense. Automatic 1st down.
And in contrast to popular opinion, it has nothing to do with the defender looking back or not. You just can't make contact like that on a pass play. Hostetler straight back, throws low. There's a flag down as Dudley couldn't come up with it. Back in the area again of holding. And Mike White can only shake his head. Here we go again.
And Bob McElwee has been real quick tonight with those, hasn't he?
Holding, 75, offense, 10 yards, 1st down.
That's Pat Harlow, the big right tackle they traded for with New England.
Marvin Harrison, number 91. Excuse me, Martin Harrison comes outside real quick. Now, boom, inside. All right, I got you inside, and then it's just a tackle. And then he winds up with Haas's ankles.
Really, that's the first flag on the Raiders since the 2nd quarter. They didn't have any in the 3rd period, but it's a big one because it makes it 1st and 20 for Hostetler. Draw play, Kaufman. Boy, did he fly through that hole across midfield. Harlan Barnett with another tackle. Edwards in there again. 15 carries, 53 yards for Napoleon Kaufman, but the Raiders have not done what they said they were going to do and come out and pound the ball.
No, they haven't. And I think that, you know, they wind up with the long yardage situations, and you can't do that if you have 1st and 20 all the time.
2nd and 14. Hostetler flushed. Throws just before he's taken down. Incomplete. It'll be 3rd and long. A pair of in-state college football rivalries Saturday beginning at 12:30 with BYU taking on Utah. Then at 7:30, perhaps the most intense rivalry of them all. The Auburn Tigers meet the Crimson Tide of Alabama. As usual, it starts with game day at 11:30. Winding down in the college season and entering the last third of the pro season here.
Of course, Lou Holtz with some kind of an announcement coming up in the next couple weeks, I think.
3rd and long for Hostetler. Under pressure again, can't find anybody, then dumps it off. Williams will be a couple of yards shy of a 1st down. And you've got to credit to Minnesota secondary. The times that Hostetler has had good protection, he just hasn't been able to find anyone.
And he's done a terrific job of trying to move around to make plays.
Raider fans want him to go for it. Of course, the fans always want him to go for it. One of the Vikings is down.
Mike White can't get caught up in the emotion of this football game. I think his defense has played pretty well. Everybody says go for it, go for it, go for it. I mean, you got 10 minutes to go in the game. I'd kick it, Mike. I wouldn't go for it.
The fans don't have contracts.
I know, and see, the thing is, too, is the fans don't have to win this game. All they have to do is show up here.
Jeff Brady is the injured player, the middle linebacker.
There he is, number 50. Now, he just gets bent backwards. A lot of times that's a hit from one of your own players hitting you.
Got his left leg caught underneath him. Brady, really quite a story. He has signed 6 different times. He keeps going from ball club to ball club, and said he thought if he ever got a chance to play middle linebacker, he could really make an impact. And when Jack Del Rio was hurt last year, he did make an impact as the middle linebacker.
And Foge Fazio, when he was with the Jets, he wanted him 4 years ago. He felt that this guy could be a good middle linebacker for him. Now he's finally got a chance to work with him. Who is that? Who is that man behind that curtain? It's Chester McLaughlin. Yes, I got it right.
Brady being helped to his feet. It's 4th and 3. No sign of the punt team. The Raiders on 4th down. They've done well, 4 out of 6.
Yeah,
but this is 4th and 3.
I was just going to say, Mike, this is a little longer than 4th and 1.
They'll come out with 3 wide receivers. Harvey Williams is the back. Play action by Hostetler. Under pressure. Throws for a 1st down at the 31. Credit Jeff Hostetler with that. He bought enough time to get it to James Jett.
I'll tell you, Minnesota had it defensed perfectly, but he couldn't make the play. Haas again coming up with a big play for this offense. Here comes the rush from outside. Jeff just eludes him. Good job by Jett. Just sitting down in a place where Haas could find him.
Napoleon Kaufman back in on 1st and 10. Clock running, 9:55 left in the game. Hostetler throws short to Tim Brown, and that ball took a long time to get there. Sean Van Horst made the tackle. One more step, he's got a shot at a pick. It's a gain of 6.
And this is a running play. This has got to be a running play.
Well, we've said that before.
I mean, 2nd down and 4 here, absolutely. I think you put yourself in a position to have something happen.
And they do go with Kaufman, and the Vikings thinking the same thing. And Brady, who is back in there after the injury, cuts through a gap, makes a tackle for a loss.
Again, Mike, they tried to go to the left side, and neither one of these offenses, I think, runs as effective to the left as they do to the right. Jeff Brady, he's just reading the play and comes up right through the crease.
When if he doesn't make the tackle, there's 3 other white shirts out there who will. 3rd and 8 now. Here comes the blitz. Hostetler somehow gets away, trying to run for it. You see how strong Hostetler is? He's just dragging tacklers with him. Looks like he's a yard shy. Will they go for it again?
Well, hey, you went for it at the 40. I think what you do now is you could kick the field goal. It's 4th down and 3. I think you're certainly in a place where you can get the 3 points. But it looks like Mike White has cast all caution to the wind.
4th down, a short 2. Dudley and Glover in there as tight ends. Now Glover runs off. He is confused about the formation, wants to send Hobbs back out, and they have to burn the timeout. 7:53 to go in the game. Back to Oakland in a moment. The Raiders have thought better of it and sent the field goal team out. Cole Ford will try a 40-yarder.
Best thing that happened to the Raiders there, Mike, was the confusion on the offense, forcing them to take a timeout. I believe that this is the right decision. This is why you have kickers in the league. Except that not everybody agrees with me.
Well, they speak their mind here in Oakland, don't they? And that gentleman always has. Al Davis. Officially, it's 41. Ford 1 out of 2 from that range this year. Gossett is the holder. And Ford silences the critics, and the Raiders have come back to tie it at 13. For years of sitting up in nice dry press boxes, you got to hand it to fans of their teams who come out and sit through this stuff just to root on their ball club for 3 hours. Ford to kick to Ismail and Morrow. Kadri from the 5. Nearly broke it, got to the 27. Here's the Braun storyline from Oakland as we're tied at 13. Brad Johnson with a very nice night, 15 out of 23 for 237. 56-yard touchdown return for McDaniel, which makes Terry a Raider record holder. The rushing yards, Minnesota has done the job on the ground tonight, but the 2 turnovers have really hurt them. Leroy Horde, the back. He's had a great first night as a Viking. Flag is down. Leroy Horde with a 10-yard carry. There's another flag down.
This is going to be the Raiders offside. Lined up in the neutral zone.
USA Today said it best. Only the Klingons violate the neutral zone more than the Raiders do.
Mike White does not like it.
Leroy Horde went down, and now they're saying he needs some more attention.
We have offside. We have offside defense. We will measure to see if a first down was made on the play.
The Horde got nearly 10 yards. So if it's not a first down, they would have either 2nd or inches or 1st and 5 if they choose to take the 5-yard walk-off. Horde very gingerly leaving the field.
Let's take a look down the line and see who might be lined up offside. The only one it could be would be Anthony Smith right there, because if you go down the neutral zone, lousy line, he's on the front of the ball right there. Boy, look at that. Pretty straight, not too bad.
Yep, penalty is declined. I would think they would have declined it anyway. 2nd and inches is better than 1st and 5.
Yes.
Leroy Horde, 16 carries, 91 yards. He's done exactly what Dennis Green hoped he would do in this offense. And now Horde will get a breather as he was shaken on the last play. Look at the numbers on Horde. 90 yards for the night. Scotty Graham replaces him on 1st and 10. Graham will get the carry. Scotty Graham running hard and dragging tacklers out to the 43. Greg Biekert made the stop. Scotty Graham had some big games as they work on Horde when he replaced Robert Smith initially when Smith was hurt. Called him back from working in a pharmacy.
Well, what he does, what Scotty Graham gives you is a different type of a back. He's like a bowling ball. He's just going to keep on rolling in there. Leroy Horde is going to make some people miss and probably gain more yards. But Scotty's doing a good job.
2nd and 4. Graham again. Lowers his head, got maybe a half a yard as the Raiders weren't buying at that time.
Big 3rd down here for both teams. If Minnesota can convert with 6:20 to go in the 4th quarter, that means they're able to burn at least another 2.5, 3 minutes off the clock. If the Raiders can stop them, they'll get the ball back and really take control of this 4th quarter. Rain subsiding a little bit more, make it a little easier to work on the field.
3rd and 4. Amp Lee is the running back. Johnson with time, goes for Reed and almost intercepted. Albert Lewis had the best shot at the ball.
Brian Bellick says, why? Why? It's 3rd down and 4. Why do you throw it down the field that far?
He just wanted the 1st down, didn't he?
That's why he called it. That's, you have to understand why coaches called certain plays. Look at Brian. He's just,
The Vikings will have to punt for only the 3rd time tonight. Tim Brown waits back at the 15. Just a tremendous return man. Raiders put pressure on the punter. And Berger did a great job kicking it away from Tim Brown and kicking it a long way as well. We'll be back in a minute. We're tied at 13.
Defensive back Terry McDaniel in our Packard Bell spotlight. He's been involved in both scoring plays, and it's been his technique that's been the difference. When he's played press right here against Jake Reed, they beat him for the big play. It's 3rd and 9. They pick up 28. Now, the big touchdown. Again, physical, can't stay with the big receiver. That one for 82. When he has played off and settled and driven on the ball, that is the result. An interception for a touchdown. Mike?
Mark, things always seem to go in cycles in this game, and now we're starting to see the bigger defensive backs who can play against the bigger receivers. For a long time, we went to little guys. Back to Mark.
Here are the numbers, Mike. They have thrown at McDaniel 5 times. Opponent receptions 4 for 134. Of course, the interception he had for the touchdown. He allowed the touchdown. And, Joe, you and I know, agree the big receivers have an advantage in this weather.
Absolutely, Mark. They don't have to deal with the quickness. They're plotters.
Hostetler on 1st and 10. Throws the deep out. Incomplete. In and out of the hands of the receiver, and a great job by Corey Fuller who knocked it away from Tim Brown. Sensational defensive play.
Neither one of these ball clubs is backing off and doing the things that they talked about, trying to run the football. Mike White's ball club trying to run it. Foge got his defense out on the field again. Got a little bit of a breather, not much.
5:39 left, 13 all. Kaufman on 2nd and 10. Ouch, right in the hole. Dixon Edwards got him in the backfield. Nice play by Edwards.
And that's what this defense is designed to do. The front 4 gets penetration, the linebackers flow and fill. That was a well-executed defensive play. The problem that this defense has had is guys have been trying to make individual plays. They've been getting blocked on the backside, both the linebackers and the ends, and they're not coordinated. On this particular play, you saw great coordination by the linebacker and the defensive end.
And they haven't given up the huge cutback play, which has hurt them lately. 3rd and 10 here. The Raiders trying not to go 3 and out. Hostetler throws. That one's going to be intercepted. Picked off by Orlando Thomas. Orlando Thomas with his 3rd of the year. Remember, this is the guy who led the NFL in interceptions last year, and Hostetler would love to have that one back.
You know, Mike, Haas, the ball slides out of his hand and slips and gets away from him. That's one thing, but I don't understand Orlando Thomas just jogging out of bounds. This is not the end of the football game. There he is in the middle. Haas is trying to get the ball to somebody crossing. It doesn't happen. But watch this after he makes the interception. All right, he's got the football. Now go make a play. Help your team out. Help your team out. Cut back. Where are you going? What is this? Jogging out of bounds. I don't get it.
Scotty Graham is Horde apparently not yet ready to go. He's down to the 20-yard line.
Orlando has been a much more discipline-free safety this year. Last year led the league with 9 interceptions. Has a lot fewer mental mistakes, only 2. That was his 3rd of this season. But on that particular play, I mean, I always felt like if I got the ball in my hand, I got to try and score. You know, he just sort of ran on out of bounds.
2nd and 8. Time now really a factor. Horde is back in there. Leroy Horde, who has certainly earned his keep tonight, stood up at the line of scrimmage. Gang tackled by the Raiders. Mike Morton led the way. Lance Johnstone was right there too. Under Dennis Green, this has been the most opportunistic defense in the NFL. 112 interceptions among the 175 takeaways, and they have had stretches where they score more than the offense does.
Exactly, and what it is if that defense is rested, like they haven't been lately, they can make plays like that. Very important here, Brad Johnson doesn't take a sack.
3rd and 7. Raiders show blitz, and here they come. Johnson throws it away. Smart play.
There was a quarterback using his head. Makes the play, and what he did, you'll notice, he picked out right where the line of scrimmage was to get rid of the football. I don't think he's done anything to please Brian Billick yet, though. I got to be honest with you.
Sisson will come on to try to give the Vikings the lead. Only 3:25 left in the game. He's been good from short range, 22 and 25. This one is 38 off a sloppy field. Hooked it.
Now you wonder why, if you're a defensive back, you don't try and pick up 5 more yards with the interception.
Scott Sisson with a snap hook to the left. And he had made 9 of 10 field goal tries in the 4th quarter this year. He had been a clutch kicker, but not that time. And the Raiders have a new life.
All the mechanics were okay on that one. The snap gets back good. It's a good hold. Ball's down, no problem there. He just brings it over. Got too much right hand into it. Winds up hooking it.
Jeff Hostetler, he's got to be breathing a sigh of relief. His interception led to that field goal try. Now he gets another shot. Under pressure. John Randall, it was almost like he said, I've had enough of this. They blocked him with one guy, or tried to block him with one guy.
And, you know, the Raiders on offense, they hardly have run on first down at all. Now, keep in mind, Kevin Gogan is 325 pounds. John Randall is only about 280. He just runs right over Gogan. That is a butt kicking right there. Look at this. We're talking about a little guy just annihilating a big man.
A pancake and a sack on the same play.
Defensive pancake.
John Randall is an awesome talent. Randall again. He has taken control of the football game on 2 straight plays.
That's why he's gotten more sacks than anybody in the last 4 or 5 years. This time he just says, well, heck, I took on Gogan. Let me go over and check Pat Harlow out, number 75. And Wisniewski on the other side, right inside of him. I mean, the offensive line of the Raiders are throwing whiffs at John Randall right now.
Randall now has 9.5 sacks. This the 11th game of the year. since '93, he's had 46 sacks as a tackle. #1 among interior linemen. Now 3rd and 25, and the Raiders going to try to play it smart with Harvey Williams on a delay and get it out to 21. There are no 3rd and 25 plays in your playbook.
It's a good decision by the Raiders on offense there.
John Randall, back-to-back sensational plays from that tackle spot. We have reached the 2-minute warning. Minnesota and Oakland knotted at 13. Up next on SportsCenter, they'll get you caught up on the day in sports. NFL highlights, of course, the coaching debut of Danny Ainge, and a conversation with Steve Young. That will, of course, be followed by prime time. Ampley deep to receive the punt with 2 minutes to go. Gossett hangs one high. Lee driven all the way back to the 30. And gets a 2-yard return out of it. Nice defense by Carl Kidd down on special teams after a 50-yard Gossett punt. The NFC wildcard race, you see the Vikings. They come into this game 4th in the race. Dallas, of course, playing tomorrow night. 3 will make it. They consider this a must game. Mike White, on the other hand, in the AFC in much worse position. He has 7 teams in front of his Raiders. Leroy Horde back in there. Leroy Horde, and true to their word, the Minnesota Vikings made a commitment to the run game tonight, and they've kept it.
They've really established a philosophy coming into this game and have done exactly what they needed to do. And Brian Belichick just continues to say, hey, look, we're going to pound it. He told me earlier today, he said, look, my goal is to run the ball at least 20 times in this game. We can do that. We can control the tempo.
2nd and 2. Johnson looked like a busted play. He throws. Chris Carter will make the catch. Should be enough for a first down, and it is out at the 44. Chris Carter with a big catch. Leroy Horde's got to be thinking, hey, this is my 3rd team. I found a home.
But I'll tell you how amazing that play was, Mike. That was supposed to be a run. And Brad Johnson went the wrong way. And Chris Carter was so smart and stayed alert and didn't give up. He gave him a place to throw the football for the first down.
Chris Carter isn't going to miss a thing. Time a real factor here, though. The Vikings have to hurry it up a little bit. Johnson under pressure, throws to Cadre at the 50.
Use his timeout. He's got to use his timeout here.
Stop the clock with 29 seconds to go. That will leave the Vikings only 1.
Now here you go, Mike. This is what you want to do. You want to try and complete the ball in the middle of the football field for about 15 yards. That's what you're looking for.
The middle, because it should be open.
Because it should be open. They're going to take away the perimeters because they don't want you to get out of bounds and stop the clock. So the middle of the football field should be open somewhere around 12 to 15 yards. You do that, you race up, you spike the ball. You save your timeout. Then you try maybe one more play or possibly a draw to give yourself a shot at a field goal. But you have to use that timeout just before the last play that you're going to take a shot at.
Scott Sisson may be thinking, gee, it would be nice if you got a touchdown out of this. Berger is warming up because he would be the long-distance field goal kicker. They need to get another 15 yards to give them a shot from 52.
32 seconds to go.
2nd and 3. Johnson just floated that one out there for Carter. That had nothing on it at all. Carter was wide open, but the pass allowed Albert Lewis to get over there and knock it away.
Badly thrown ball. Now, Brian Belichick is going to call a play for him to convert this 3rd down. But this ball hangs way in the air a long, long time. Albert Lewis doesn't even see it coming. He just had to try and get to Chris Carter.
Warren Moon hoping his teammates can pull one out and that he can get healthy and come back next week. 3rd and 3. Johnson over the middle, knocked away and nearly intercepted. Terry McDaniel with an outstanding defensive play to knock it away from Jake Reed, and one of the Raiders is hurt on the play. That's Eddie Anderson, who nearly had a shot at the interception.
Brad Johnson does a good job of getting something on this one, but Terry McDaniel is right in Jake Reed's lap. Well, I thought Mark Malone pointed out something really great earlier. When Terry McDaniel has played close to people, he's been beaten. But if he gives them a little bit of a cushion, he's able to close the distance, and just did a great job there again.
Now, Berger is going to punt. If I were them, I'd kick this ball out of bounds rather than let Tim Brown return it. And he signals for a fair catch anyway at the 15-yard line with only 15 seconds left. I would not let...
And Haas, the ball's a little slick. You saw one slip before. I'd run it out and go to OT.
And an interception would lead to a field goal. Here is Kaufman. They'll see if they can get a big run out of a little guy. He's up to the 24. They just didn't want to do anything stupid at this point. Kaufman lost his footing and went down, and that's going to end it. 13-13, we will go to overtime. Both of these teams desperately trying to get a win here to stay alive for the playoffs.
Mike, and I thought that... Slipper.
Gentlemen, you're the visitors. Please call it while it's in the air. Who's going to call the toss? This gentleman. Please call it in the air. Heads, he says. Heads, he says. It is a tail. Oakland has won the toss and they want the ball. You want to defend this goal. Okay. Oakland receives this end.
The Raiders will have the football as we start overtime from Oakland when we come back. 13-13, getting ready to start overtime here in Oakland, California. The Vikings and the Raiders all tied up. The last 16 games, the Raiders have won only 4 games. That's tied for second worst in the NFL after being ranked first in the last 34 years. So it's been a down period, really, in the 90s for the Oakland Raiders, but more specifically for Mike White. Scott Sisson, who snap-hooked the field goal. Otherwise, we would not be in overtime. And he would love a chance for redemption. That's Napoleon Kaufman. He's back with Carl Kidd. Berger will kick it off. Done a great job on kickoffs tonight. And this definitely becomes a field position worn out.
Yeah, and I think on offense, the Raiders, Mike, have got to try and get the ball to Tim Brown somehow. He's their big playmaker. He's the guy that makes things happen.
Berger nails another one. Kaufman 7 yards deep. He'll bring it out. Napoleon Kaufman turns the corner to the 27-yard line. 34-yard return chased out of bounds by Sean Van Horst. And let's see if John Randall can keep the adrenaline flow going.
Mike, I remember what Joe Bugle told us on Friday when we were asking him about John Randall. He says, man, this guy's got a motor. He says it looks like what he's going to do is he's just going to pick out one of our offensive linemen and figure out which one butt he could kick. Well, so far he's done it to Gogan and he's done it to Harlow and Wisniewski.
Kaufman and Williams are in there together on 1st and 10. Play action by Hostetler. Plenty of time. Dumps it to Kaufman, and Kaufman went down at the 30-yard line. The ball came out but late. Darryl Talley, the longtime veteran, right there with him. Gain of only 3. Talley, who spent most of a great career with Buffalo.
Of course, now's a time when I think the Minnesota Vikings have to be a little concerned about the fatigue of that defense. You know, they've been worn out in 4 quarters, and now we're going to a 5th.
Harvey Williams. Little hesitation, got him a couple of more yards, and he's out to the 34-yard line. That's still going to be about 3 shy of a first down as Harlan Barnett made the stop.
Mike, you got almost 675 pounds trying to block little John Randall. He takes on this double team and winds up splitting it and making the play. I mean, they really can't block John Randall.
Well, he didn't go to the last 3 Pro Bowls for nothing.
He's an unblockable force.
2 of those sacks tonight on consecutive plays. 3rd and 3. Opening possession of overtime. Hostetler under pressure, trying to run for it. He's got the first down. Lowered the shoulder and bowled his way out to the 40. Hostetler has never been one to shy away from contact.
Let me tell you, the entire 4th quarter and so far into overtime has been owned by Jeff Hostetler for Oakland on offense. He has done everything. The receivers are covered. Very good presence of knowing exactly how far he has to get. And he's not sliding. He's not laying down. He's delivering a shot. And I think actually you protect yourself better that way.
Napoleon Kaufman testing the right side. Ran away from Brady. Fuller knocked him out of bounds, but another good gain up to the 46.
Run out of bounds by Corey Fuller.
Brad Johnson just saying, hey, just stop him, guys. Give me a chance. That's all. When you're a quarterback in this situation, all you want is a chance to get out there.
Sports Center coming up right after our overtime period here at Oakland. Playoff chances hanging in the balance for both ball clubs. Jason Fisk, who's had a big game tonight. Play action, Hostetler. Rifles this one, but too low for Brown. Fuller was out there in coverage. I think Hostetler was trying to make sure if that was caught, Tim Brown was the only guy who was going to get it.
Well, you know, when the ball gets slick like this, Mike, on a night like this where it hasn't really rained a lot, but it's just misted, that the ball just gets a little heavier and a little heavier, and it just doesn't come out with the same kind of zip for you. That one was, 3 or 4 yards short. I still think they have to find a way to get Tim Brown to play. There it is, all spotty and heavy.
3rd and 5, and the Raiders will use one of their 2 timeouts in overtime. Hostetler will go to the sideline to talk it over. We're in overtime, tied at 13. 13-13, 3rd down, big play for both coaches.
Yeah, and if I was Dennis Green, I would go after Jeff Hostetler. And if I was Mike White, I'd be ready for the blitz, because Haas has done nothing but make play after play, dancing around, whether it's scrambling for the first down or if it's maneuvering to make a throw. Don't give him that opportunity. Your corners are playing well. Washington and Fuller can handle the wide receivers of the Raiders.
3rd and 5, the Raiders at their own 46. They come with a straight 4-man rush. Hostetler with time, complete pass to the 42. Tim Brown with a catch. First down, Oakland.
You've got to look for Tim Brown. I think he's the guy that's going to make a play for you. Now they're debating whether or not he caught it.
They're saying it hit the ground. Tim Brown visibly upset.
Take a look-see. You know it's coming in low. I think he cradled it.
I think he caught it.
I think it started to sneak out, but he managed to cradle it. Well, that was a quick angle there.
He had his hands under it. If the ball doesn't touch the ground, it's a catch. And it appeared he kept it off the turf. And now the Raiders, instead of having a first down in Viking territory, will have to punt. Gossett hangs a beauty up there for Amp Lee. Makes the fair catch out at the 16. Coming up next, sports.
Created an opportunity for the noggin to get banged around a little bit more.
Really? Johnson gets it out to Carter, trying to make a play. Gets up to the 26-yard line, about a yard shy of a first down. Mike Jones made the tackle.
Boy, there was a case of Chris Carter just coming back for the football. He came back and just snatched that thing out of the air. He was not going to allow Terry McDaniel or Albert Lewis to come up and make a play. Watch him come back for the ball. Look at this. That's how you go after a football. No way a defensive back's going to make a play on you that way.
2nd and 1. Leroy Horde. He has run beautifully tonight for his new ball club. Signed a week ago, didn't play. Gets it up to the 34-yard line. And Anthony Smith appears to be injured on the play. The last 3 weeks before this game, 11, 48, and 15. 11 was the worst they had ever done. Tonight, 147 yards. Leroy Horde has 108 of those. Horde again. Not much room to run. Beaker trying to rip the ball away from him. Mike Jones made the tackle.
Good patient job of running. Brian Bellick just really calling the game the way he's called it all night. No changes in the philosophy of this Viking offense. John Randall's done his job getting the ball back. He and his mates on the other side of the ball.
2nd and 10. Ampli is in as the setback. Quick pass to the big tight end, Andrew Jordan. Oh, Brad Johnson with a quick set just snapped one to Jordan, who's 6'4", 254.
Well, there's a case where you get the linebacker covering at the end and you get a free release and he doesn't get to the safety for a while. He just bangs it right to him. Good read by Brad Johnson. Saw the blitz coming from the outside, got the ball off real quick.
Jordan, who played so well as a rookie, really hasn't stepped his game up beyond that. Johnson with time over the middle, and that one is dropped by Greg DeLong. Would have been another easy 5-yard gain, and DeLong couldn't hold on to it.
Michael, that replaces a good 5-yard run. That's all Brian was trying to do there, Billy. All he's trying to do is call a play where he can get 5 yards on 1st and 10. Gets him into a working situation.
A lot of guys losing shoes tonight. That was Andrew Jordan. The Vikings have done the job on offense and defense, and yet they're in a 13-13 dogfight. Scotty Graham. Scotty Graham breaking tackles. First down to the Raider 42. Boy, did he get some sensational blocking up front.
And that is a changeup for Minnesota on offense. Normally in 2nd and long, they'd want to throw the ball down the field. Now what they do is they commit themselves to running the football and they pick up a key first down. Coming at you down on the lower left side. Good job by Stussy and McDaniel just turning out. Stussy just burying Swilling. And Scotty Graham doing what he's doing.
It looked like Randall McDaniel just caved in Chester McLaughlin. First and 10, Scotty Graham bursts through the hole, down to the 35. The Vikings now in very long field goal range.
Randall McDaniel is now starting to take over his side of the ball, just like we saw John Randall do. Watch him, 91, 64 on 91. Little help from Christie, but they're just running over right at Big Chester.
Very tough for big offensive or defensive linemen to get into overtime. This is a very tiring experience. 2nd and 3, Scotty Graham hitting the backfield, trying to get back to the original line of scrimmage. Greg Beekert was right there.
See, Michael, last week against Tampa Bay, the Raiders are in an overtime situation as well. Their defense spends a lot of time on the field. Chester's been being pushed around. Now it's his turn. Now he just takes and shoves Randall back and makes the play. There have been some great interior matchups tonight.
A lot of pride on the line, too. 3rd and 3. From here, it would be a 52-yard field goal try.
Watch the quarterback draw here.
Johnson throws. That's a first down, but there's a marker down on the play at the 30 as Chris Carter with another clutch catch. Now we'll check the penalty. And it's defense against the Raiders.
Holding, number 52, defense.
Mike
That's a
Jones, the
5-yard
linebacker.
penalty. Automatic first down.
A fresh set of downs for the Minnesota Vikings.
The reception is about the same distance.
Play gets them more than 5 yards. First down.
The penalty would have given him about 5 yards. The play gave him about 6.
Yeah. Scott Sisson, who is 2 of 3 tonight, with a chance to be a hero, possibly in overtime. Spotted at the 28. That's a 45-yard field goal try from that spot. Scotty Graham, the deep back. Graham will get the carry. Room to run outside. Scotty Graham just took off on that run, and there was not a soul outside left end.
What both he and Leroy Horde have done is they've done a terrific job of being patient. They allow Andrew Jordan, number 89, and Todd Stussy, number 73, an opportunity to make their blocks, stay on their blocks, and then they accelerate outside.
Boy, Swilling took a hard inside charge from his end spot and was blocked by Charles Evans. There was just nobody out there to contain the play. 2nd and 2.
Raiders have to commit some people to blitz. They can't sit back and just get pushed around.
Graham, and they did, and get Scotty Graham for a loss of maybe half a yard. Lance Johnstone, the rookie out of Temple, who even at 250 pounds done a nice job stopping the run.
If I'm the Minnesota Vikings on offense right here, I don't lay down and just settle for a try at a field goal right here. I'm going to try and pick up a first down. The way I go about doing it is it's a speed, it's a sprint out by Brad Johnson. You get him away. If he has to run, he can get the first down. If not, you run a play action pass and try and get somebody in the flat.
Just don't take a sack.
Right.
Instead, they go right up the middle, and that's going to be close to a first down. The marker right at the 18-yard line. And they'll bring in the sticks to measure with 5:24 to go in overtime. Well, we're both losing it. They got the first down.
Not by a lot, though.
So far, this has been a beautiful drive for the Vikings. 63 yards, 6 minutes and 17 seconds. And now they can get even closer for Scott Sisson.
I think you keep pounding away here. Just doing what you're doing. Keep taking time off the clock. Get as close as you can.
Graham cuts it back, dives to the 15.
And you know the one thing you don't do as a quarterback, Mike? You don't get in that huddle and remind the running back to hold on to the ball with 2 hands. Invariably.
Is this psychological?
Exactly. Invariably. As soon as you say that, that becomes something on their mind, and they wind up fumbling the football. So you don't say anything. Except Scotty Graham has never fumbled, so that's why you don't have to say it to him.
Coming into this game, 340 NFL touches. He has never fumbled the football. If that's not a hex, I don't know one. And now Johnson will even take that out of play and gets another 2 yards on the quarterback sneak. You've always had a theory you'd like to see him try the field goal on 3rd down.
I think if you kick it now, because if there's a miscue, you get another chance. If you go for it on 4th down and you miss it, then you give the ball back to the Raiders. I think if Dennis has made the commitment to try and pick up no more yards, should have sent his field goal unit out now.
Instead, they'll run the play on 3rd and 5. Graham, maybe a yard closer.
Tell you what else kicking on third down does, Mike, is it's got to make that rush team think that you might run a fake, and it takes a little pressure off the kicker on the edges. It's got to make them a little more tentative. Now, you can bet that Rusty Tillman's rush unit with Albert Lewis out there is probably going to be coming hard around the corner.
Historion Sisson, he has been good from 22 and 25. Snap hooked his left one from 38. This will be from 30 to win the game and take the Vikings to 6-5. Sisson drills this one through, and the Minnesota Vikings in overtime have beaten the Raiders in Oakland 16-13. And at 4-7, you have to feel the Raiders are done.